Week 2 had it all. Some wild finishes, some upsets, huge blowouts. I was on a plane yesterday during this Bengals-Chiefs game, and nobody enjoyed that because I was freaking out the entire time. We're going to dig into, we have a goal. We want to get to every single game, what we saw, and we've got a future Hall of Famer to do it with. Luke Kuechly is going to make us all smartest mind in the business, so we're going to have him. And we will also take a peek into tonight's big one. Did I stay for the Eagles game? No. Was I in Philly? We'll get into it. They got the Falcons tonight. Let's go. Let's do this thing. Week 2, not quite complete. We got the Falcons. We got the Eagles. That's going on tonight. Thanks for choosing us to hang out with this morning. Luke Kuechly on the way. You made a good decision for being here because I'm going to learn from him. You're going to learn from him. I have so many questions. People on Twitter want to know why we're seeing so much too high. What's going on with the Colts defense allowing 5 to 6 yards a pop? Lots of questions for Luke Kuechly. Those nuanced ones, those smart plays you see out there where you're like, oh, that's a Kuechly. Send us those. Give us your questions, and I will be sure to ask him those in the exclusive YouTube breaks and joining us, of course, on FanDuel TV this morning and MSG Network. Oh, my gosh, the Giants operating without a kicker. They made history. We're going to dig into it. Last night, you had the Texans. They're at home. They knock off the Bears. It was kind of a slugfest, wasn't it? Physical, nasty. Both the defenses brought it, and we still saw some flashy plays out of C.J. Stroud. And first touchdown scorer. Got that one right, Nico Collins, right? But it was really Houston, what they were able to do to pressure Caleb Williams, which didn't look very hard last night. I think I could have gotten to Caleb Williams, to be honest. That's what made the difference. Here is the wonderful DeMeco Ryans beaming about his defense's effort after the game.
Well, it starts up front with our defensive line, like Will, Daniil, Mario, all the guys, the way they were rushing, like together, and the way we were covering in the back end, that really set things apart for us. So, you know, credit to Sting and Kamari for the way they cover, allowing those guys to get the pressure. You don't get pressure unless the coverage is tight. So those guys cover well and allowed the rush to get there.
I don't know if you remember me telling you that I sat with Daniil Hunter and said he's the scariest, most intimidating player in the NFL. It showed last night. Texans combining for 7 sacks. Sorry, Caleb. Oof. 23 total pressures. Oof. He's in the ice tub this morning, right? They held DeAndre Swift to just 18 yards on 14 carries. And this was so dominant with Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, 3 sacks combined, 17 pressures between the two of them. They never let Caleb get comfortable at all. Daniil leaping through the air like he did. Oh, my God, that's going to be a nightmare for weeks. What? Terrifying. Great defense. Who told you they're going to be the top defense in the AFC this year? They're so good, okay? Their offense is amazing, too, but their defense is so scary. They put their stamp, I think, Anderson and Hunter, on being the best edge tandem in the league last night. I'd sign that piece of paper, okay? Stingley, Lassiter. We were hearing all these glowing things at camp. They made their case among duos as well, each getting a pick off of young Caleb. The defense, unbelievable. We'll dig into the Bears side of things with Luke Kuechly, speaking of defense, in just a little bit. But I'm on the plane. I'm watching Bengals Chiefs. Hamilton, poor Hamilton. He's like, I'm trying to pay attention to things. I'm like, what happened? Gesicki dropped what? I'm freaking out because I didn't get to see all of it, and then I watched the rest of it when I got home. But this chapter was another classic. This is the game I want in January. I'm willing it. I'm praying for it, manifesting. It goes down to the wire. Chiefs pull it out at Arrowhead, pull it off out, sure. On the Kansas City side, they have really mastered taking what the defense is giving them, okay, over the last 2 years. We knew coming in that this Bengals run defense is a weakness. You saw it last week. I hated it. Even with Mahomes back there, the Chiefs, they stayed disciplined. They kept attacking it. Here's Mahomes after the game.
That's what makes us a great team, man. Like, obviously, I want the offense to be high-flying and explosive, but I feel like in years past, like if I played like we played today offensively, we would have lost this game. But we have a great football team. Defense stepped up, made plays. Special teams made plays, and so I'm excited for it. We're not even playing our best football, and we're still getting these wins against great opponents.
Yep, he doesn't want to throw picks, of course. He wants more touchdowns, but Kansas City was able to get movement against the Bengals line. Play after frickin' play. He's a problem, Pacheco, we know that. So efficient, so mad all the time. He took advantage, everyone did. Kansas City finished with 149 yards on the ground, a whopping 32 carries. Wow, Mahomes threw just 151 yards. That's the thing, a lot of running going on around the league here. To put it into perspective, the greatest quarterback playing right now, Patrick Mahomes, he started 116 games, 116 under his belt. This was just the 10th time the Chiefs have run more than they've passed, okay? just the 10th time of 116. And the only time they've run at a higher clip than they did yesterday was that weird Monday afternooner, the monsoon, remember, against the Bills back in 2020. So huge credit to Andy and Mahomes. It is so hard to be disciplined. I call out, run the ball. Why aren't you going to the better? They did it, and this sort of versatility and the patience that it sort of takes, self-discipline, is going to make it even tougher. But if they're going to keep running the ball going forward, look at this. They're going to have to do it without that guy who I said was so scary, such a threat, so efficient, so mad all of the time. Breaking news, it is a fibula injury for Isaiah Pacheco. So Edwards-Helaire, he's already out. That leaves Samaje Perine. Carson Steele, not great yesterday, as the only active running backs for Kansas City right now. So clearly, is it like violins for them? No, I think they'll be okay. If anyone can get over something like this, it's the Chiefs. But it is a big deal because he's really meant a lot over the past couple of years, and obviously what we've seen even just last night. Bengals side. We got Kuechly coming up. We're going to dig into this one. What is PI? When should it be called? All these questions, right? Super frustrating. I don't want to get into that, though, because the Bengals could have and should have won this game, okay? Bottom line, you can't give Kansas City a defensive touchdown and settle for 4 field goals and expect to beat Patrick Mahomes. Go for it. Go for it. That drop on Gesicki, that doesn't happen. Mahomes, brutal mistake. The Jamar Chase stuff, it's hard for me to talk about this morning because I think it was all there in front of them. And the reason they should have won this game, and the person I feel worst for this morning is Coach Lou. Coach Lou Anarumo, okay? Another chapter, another brilliant game plan. Like, I hope, are you seeing this, owners? Like, this is the head coach. He is the one who can somehow erase or mitigate or stifle Patrick Mahomes. Even with the run game working for Casey, and we knew that it would because it's the weakness for this Bengals squad, he game planned this thing up. The Chiefs' offense only had 19 points. That's the thing. Don't let other teams score points. They might bring on some yards with the way this is looking this year right now, but don't score points. That's crazy. Hubbard doesn't look 100% Hubbard to me yet. B.J. Hill, Sheldon Rankins, they leave the game. They leave the game mid-game with injuries. When you hold Mahomes under 20 points, you expect to win, period. They were amazing on third down. They loved it, threw the book at him, made it tough, and they couldn't cash in, and that sucked. That being said, there are positives to take away from this. Somebody tweeted me, I don't know, Kate, just feels like it stuck out to me. The window is closing. It's closed. I think we missed our window. Are you joking here? If you're being just realistic, the Bengals team we saw yesterday is way closer to the best version of this team than the one we saw in week 1. Okay, Zach Taylor summed it up really well after the game. Take a listen to this.
Anytime you're going to play a team that's won 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls, it's going to be a challenge. And not everything's going to be perfect. And you got to be ready to grind out some adversity. And I thought our guys did a great job grinding out some adversity. I didn't think there was ever a time where they just had outstanding momentum. Anytime they got some momentum, I thought the other unit did a good job rising up and taking the pressure off. And so, again, I'm disappointed that we lost the game, but that doesn't mean I'm disappointed with our players and how they played and where we're going to go for a team as we move forward.
Perfectly said. And listen, the margin for error is gonzo. Okay, luckily the Ravens lost 2, so they're over. This team is faced with digging out of a bad hole here, but all is not lost. T will be back. The offense clearly moving in the right direction. The defense was where it needs to be, even though it's a little different. There's some things to struggle with there, but this gave me hope, man. It did, even in a loss. That's why it's probably so frustrating. They were 1 play away from beating the champs, even though they made a bunch of knucklehead mistakes out there, too. If they had looked the way that they did week 1 again, or closer to that, panic button for sure, I'd be disappointed. But I'm not giving up on them because of a 1-point loss to Kansas City. Are we joking? I think we see them hit their stride next week, by the way, against Washington, who took care of the Giants. Okay, last one before we hit the break and bring in someone much smarter than me. I'm Pinky. He's the brain. We have Luke Kuechly coming in, of course, to hang out with us and give us his thoughts, his insights, not only on the Panthers, but, and by the way, he told you the Saints were real, that Kuechly. So let's talk about what they did going into Dallas, putting up 44 points, snapping the Cowboys 16-game regular season. I messed that up yesterday and got killed for it by Packers fans. The Cowboys had a 16-game home game winning stretch situation going out. And this was not just a loss. This was a blowout, okay? FanDuel Sportsbook, by the way, this was the most bet game of the weekend. And I have a feeling, it wasn't because of the Saints. People thought it was easy pickings to pick the Cowboys in this one at home, of course. Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara. Oh my gosh, the nightmare that Alvin Kamara is to Mike Zimmer's defense. They scored touchdowns on 6 straight drives to start the game. Kamara has 10 touchdowns. People on Twitter aren't understanding how crazy this is. 10 touchdowns in his last 2 games against Zimmer's defenses. That's insane. I tried to tell you not to ignore this performance against the Panthers last week. I had Luke Kuechly, future Hall of Famer, sort of like tell you also. No one wanted to listen. But that's okay. Hop on board right now. Do not sleep on the difference that offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak made and is making on this team. Best kept secret in the league. Maybe this offseason, I went down there, it's all anybody. DeMario Davis, he's like, this dude makes everything hard. I'm amazing. And it's hard to defend what we're seeing in camp. The eyes, the bright eyes, the smiles out of Dennis Allen when it came to talking about what a game changer Clint Kubiak would be. Take a listen to what everyone I talked to said about Clint.
He's extremely intelligent. He's a really, really hard worker. He's creative with what he wants to do with his motions. I think he understands how he's going to be able to utilize some of these players.
The standard is the standard, and it doesn't waver. Like, we could have a great day, and he's still going to get after us about, like, one little step that was wrong, and he doesn't let it slip. And he says, look, we're going to celebrate the good things, and then we're going to coach the crap out of the imperfections.
Being able to go against it every day, I'm able to see, like, what makes it click. And so I'm excited to kind of use what I've learned against. But, yeah, he's the real deal. Great coach, phenomenal coach.
Hype's looking real. And while Kubiak's been phenomenal, I do want to say this. There's a lot of, how do I say this? The Derek Carr, I'm disappointed in Saints fans because I don't think it's helpful to hate on or blaspheme or quit on or be mean to your quarterback, even though maybe he didn't handle things the way that you wanted him to, or he should. Like, it doesn't help anything to not support your quarterback. I would say that to Panthers fans about their quarterback. I would say it to Bears fans that might be a little disgruntled this morning. It's not Caleb's fault at all. I would say it to Giants fans with their quarterback. Like, it doesn't help the confidence. It's not going to do any good for you, right? So that was my sort of take when I went down and I was sitting next to Derek Carr a month ago, interviewing him, saying, what have you done differently with Chris Olave? What have you learned? Tell me about, like, you're now settled. How does this feel? And I got so much bad commentary from Saints fans saying, piling on, he's not the guy, get rid of him. I got to tell you, every Raiders fan that I run into, every Raiders player, ex-player, talking head, whatever you want to say, man, I wish we had Derek Carr because we have the defense here. Man, I wish we had Derek Carr. We missed Derek Carr. I'm not saying anything about Minshew. Minshew's figuring it out. Like, business happened the way that it happened. But Derek Carr's a great quarterback, especially when he has protection. Derek Carr's trying to be better, trying to make these things. Support this guy. So I want to say, as much as we're talking about Kubiak and his effect on this team, he gets his flowers, but he doesn't get all of them. That's what I want to say. Because before Kubiak ever stepped a freaking foot into New Orleans, Derek Carr is saying he feels more settled, the chemistry's better. And by the numbers, this is true. So give your quarterback some love this morning and stop giving him shit. I'm so sick of it. Take a look at this. Derek Carr 6-1 over his last 7 games, going back to last year, leads the NFL in touchdowns last year, and passer rating over that span. This is not with Kubiak. 19 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions now. Nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to give him his love. He was figuring things out last year. Adding Kubiak obviously is going to take it to another level. And by the way, be really fun. This was a bit of a womp-womp of an offense to watch last year, and now I can't take my eyes off of it. I'm at a sports bar in New York yesterday. All these things are happening, and I'm like, Aaron Rodgers isn't even on the field. Like, nothing's going on there. Giants operating without a kick. I was glued to this game because of the eye candy, the madness that was going on. And the Saints were the first team to put up 91-plus points, guys, through week 2 in 15 years. 15 years. They're the 4th team to do it in the entire Super Bowl era. The last team to do it, it was this one, by the way. Does this one look familiar, Saints fans? The last one before that was 1971, the Cowboys, who went on to win the Super Bowl, by the way. I'm not saying, this is going to happen to be kind of cute because the Super Bowl's in New Orleans and all of that, but what's going on is historically special right now. Enjoy it and know that it's not just one person. And you should give your quarterback a hug. That's what I think. All right, this guy gave quarterbacks hugs his entire NFL career. They didn't like the hugs. Usually meant they were eating some turf or real grass. But here he is, Luke Kuechly, breaking down week 2 with us next. Sorry I swore, I got heated. I'm so sick of it. Hamilton. I just can't, it's just so unhelpful.
Yeah.
Especially with quarterbacks that I don't know if I'm saying this the right way. Like, there's quarterbacks that, like, need confidence. Kyle Rudolph knows Daniel Jones. Came on and did an entire soliloquy about, like, how they need to make him feel confident, give him some gimmies, do whatever. I hadn't watched a bunch of that game, and I texted Hamilton, and I go, are they going for 2? Because they're, what did I text you? I got to this bar late. I was by myself. Oh my God, by the way, that was like a blood sport. Me having to go to an NFL sports bar and listen to people be like, I think, I was texting you, I think the Bucs might be a sleeper this year. I'm like, they won the freaking division, Jimmy. Like, what are you talking about? Oh my God, that was awful. It was like brutal. But what was I saying? Oh, I thought that they were going for 2 to just like show
confidence in Daniel Jones.
And you were like, let me catch you up, dude. And then I realized it was happening. But I thought maybe I was like, they're going for 2 with Danny. Let's go. Lo and behold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not having a kicker. Not a great place to be in.
At a certain point, if it goes to overtime, shouldn't there be a rule that, like, says, I don't know, I feel like we should be able to, like, take somebody from the audience or, take somebody from the crowd. There had to be like a New York Red Bull in the stands watching, that could come down and help them out in overtime. It's just crazy that if your kicker gets hurt, that's like what you're left with.
Yeah. And I guess there's also some controversy because they knew he had like something of a groin injury coming in, but he hurt his hamstring. So Dable's saying it's not related, but other people are like saying, you should have had another kicker on standby just in case.
Did they give you,
Neighbors was phenomenal.
That drop sucked, but like he racked up. You had him on your bench, didn't you? No faith in the Giants, huh? Interesting.
I did the hamstring injury going in on that injury report was a little concerning, but
I will say this. My favorite player is right now. It's between Devontae. What a freaking game!
Oh my God. He just took over that fourth quarter.
It was amazing. So we get to talk to him tomorrow. Victory Tuesday with Devontae Adams. I can't wait. But I will say, like, Justin Jefferson, there's like no one I'm happier for to make like a crazy play. We're gonna show it right here, but like, it's like it brings out the fight. It brings out the me cheering for Devin Hester, Matt Forte when I'm a kid. Like that's what it does. All right, thanks, Hammy. Sorry about Malik Willis.
Okay.
And his impact so far on the Viking defense. 2nd down 9. Darnold getting messy, going deep, and he's got Jefferson. It's a foot race downfield with Brown. Shifting gears. Getting a block. That's 6. 97 yards. Holy smokes.
No, I couldn't be happier for Justin Jefferson there. That wouldn't have happened under Luke Kuechly's watch. No. 5-time All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowl linebacker, Panthers radio analyst, called the game yesterday. Just the smartest guy. Luke Kuechly, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm really good. We had a fun week, too. We've got a big one tonight with the Falcons against the Eagles that we should look forward to. We just saw, the Vikings upsetting the Niners. We'll dig into all of it. I'd like to start with Sunday night, if you're okay with that.
Yep.
Okay, Caleb Williams will absorb 7 sacks. Okay, they lose to the Texans. Danielle Hunter, terrifying. Let's start easy here. How much of that is on Caleb, and how much of that's on the Bears O-line?
I think a lot of pressures that result in sacks are oftentimes the fault of the quarterback. You look at the clips that are playing right now. He's trying to duck and dive and escape, but in the NFL, very different than college. He's going against Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson on almost every drop back, and it's not like you're at USC anymore where you can just slip in and out and extend plays, and that's what made him such a good quarterback in college and why everybody was so excited was what can he do when he scrambles, when he's off script. He's got DJ Moore and Roma Dunze. Obviously, Keenan Allen was out, but you can't escape from these big physical defensive ends that have the length they do. They're just going to run you down and come get you.
I mean, he said he was a little bruised up after the 19-13 loss. Does the pass rush of Houston deserve a ton of credit? I called that they'd be the best defense in the AFC this year. They looked the part last night.
Right, yeah. I mean, they had, seven sacks, a ton of pressures, and they're deep, too, at that position. Jerry Hughes has been around for a long time. He's obviously had a ton of success. And then Derek Barnett was a first-round pick with the Eagles. So it's not like Will Anderson and Donnell Hunter come out and then they put in 2 backup guys that aren't any good. They have depth everywhere. And D'Amico Ryans played in the league for a long time, super good player. He knows what he's doing on the defensive side of the ball. And I will say one thing about playing defense, you get a lot of confidence knowing your offense can score points. And I know they didn't score a ton last night, but when you have CJ Stroud and Tank Dell and Nico Collins and those guys, and you know you can score at any moment. You play a lot harder. You take more opportunities. There's more chances to be had. And if you're Caleb Williams, you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to learn quickly that in the NFL, hey, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, boom, check the ball down and move on to the next play, because you can't go from 1st and 10 to start a drive to take a sack and make it 2nd and 15. Your series and your drive is kind of over at that point.
So he's got to pick better spots to run, maybe? Like, get the ball out quicker. That's the advice we would give young Caleb.
Yeah, I would just get rid of it. I would say, hey, look, 1's not there, 2's not there. Be real selective when you decide to scramble. But at the end of the day, you just got to get the ball in the hands of your playmakers and let them go do it.
Do you have an example in your head? I'm putting you on the spot. Is there I can't think of a rookie quarterback is there one that's done that? That's learned that? Oh, okay, I got to get the ball out quicker. Now it seems hard to do. I can't think of an example of somebody who's learned how to do it.
I don't know. I think the best way to learn it is to be in the situation on the field live. Speaking from experience, I didn't understand the physicality of the game of football at the NFL level until my first real game. We played Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they ran 21 personnel lead right at me the whole game, and I played poorly. I didn't understand the physicality of the game. I didn't understand the speed. I didn't understand the strength of the offensive linemen, the fullback, the running backs. And until you're in that situation, you don't really know. So I'm not faulting Caleb for it. I think it's just one of those things. Listening to the broadcast last night, I know he had a tough week 1, and Collinsworth alluded to it, that they went in after week 1. They talked to him about it. He invited the coaching. He wanted the coaching. So I'm not worried about him. I think he's going to understand, hey, in college, they could get away with a lot. Now in the NFL, it's going to be a different game. I just need to get the ball out sometimes. And if it's 2nd and 10, that's fine.
Get rid of the ball. And I like that you give, it's a tough opponent. Good way to learn up against a bona fide, really sort of treacherous Texans defense. I like that you're giving love to D'Amico Ryans. It's as if great former defensive players should be coaches, Luke.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, he's the best.
I'm talking about you.
I know. I'm coaching. Kay, I coach 7th and 8th grade football. I mean, I'm under contract with Greg Olson for at least another year. So his son will be in 8th grade next year. We obviously have to coach them. So until that runs its course, I gotta stick with my guys.
Is there any question that you're asked more? Because I asked, and I've got a bunch of why so much high 2? Offensive players pleading for hip drop tackle penalties, but every there's 7 questions about you being a coach, and then there's a real question when I ask for Kuechly questions. Do you hear it so often?
I hear it a lot, and I think I'd love it. I think you're on the field, you're coaching guys. One of my favorite things when I was playing was training camp and OTAs, because I was so fortunate in my career to have the same defensive coordinator. I had Sean McDermott, and then after Sean McDermott, it was Steve Wilkes, and after Steve Wilkes, it was Eric Washington. We largely had the same system my whole career in Carolina. So I knew what we were doing. I didn't have to study it a ton. So what I was able to do was help the young guys a lot. And I loved coaching and I loved teaching them, hey, I tried it this way when I was a young guy. I learned this from Thomas Davis. This is how he did it. I've kind of taken how he did it and kind of put my own spin on it. This is how it can be beneficial for you. And I talked to all these ex-players, and they say how much they love it. And I'm just not quite ready for the time commitment associated with doing all that.
Yeah, you're thoughtful as always. I have a lot of people in the comments saying, talk about the Panthers. We will talk about the Panthers. But the another big game was Chiefs-Bengals. You just heard me talking about it. The pass interference call on 4th and 1 to allow the Chiefs to kick a game-winning field goal. What do you think about making that call with under a minute left in the game?
You know what? I think there's 2 situations. I think if it's an end of the game, last play of the game, bomb, Hail Mary, I think officials give the defenders a lot more leeway to play physical. There's a lot more pulling. There's a lot more tugging. But in that situation in the game, I'm a defender. I'm a Bengals fan. I grew up in Cincinnati. I don't fault them for throwing the flag. I think Gene Steratore nailed it when he talked about it. He said he got there early. He didn't get his feet set, and he wasn't vertical when he was contesting the catch. So as much as I'd love to say terrible call, when you watch the slow motion replay, he played through his back. He got there a little bit early. Yes, he was going for the ball, but you got to be straight up, and you can't be into the back of the receiver. I think it's different if you're coming from the side, or even if you're backing up and you're playing into the receiver, because then you're going after the ball. But if you're playing through somebody's back, it's an easy call for the official, and they have to make it. But I think watch it when Mahomes escapes. That's when stuff gets difficult, because now angles change, timing changes, where he's able to throw the ball changes. It makes life really difficult. But yeah, I think, as much as I hate to say it, it's a correct call.
Well said by you. I want to ask you about this offense. I think there's a lot of the sky is falling, we're 0-2, but I thought they did an okay job. I thought the offense was clicking. Some mistakes, of course. The Jamar Chase thing did not help, Kuechly, whatever. But how big, are we underestimating how big of a deal it was that T. Higgins wasn't out there?
I think so, especially early in the season for him. I think, you look at with Jamar Chase, he missed all training camp. He's 2 games in with Joe, trying to figure it out. And now they go from last year, they had, Joe Mixon's gone. I think Tyler Boyd's a guy that doesn't get talked about enough on that rotation. So last year it was Jamar T and Tyler Boyd, right? All those guys are really good players. They're big, they're physical. Tyler Boyd's gone. T. Higgins is gone. Yeah, they brought Kuechly in. He's still new. They're trying to get on the same page. But now Kansas City can put all their resources to stop Jamar Chase. And then what? Life gets really hard. But, I mean, they scored 25 points. You still have Joe Burrow. And throughout the season, Jamar's going to get more comfortable. Kuechly's going to get more comfortable. They're going to get T back. So, yeah, they struggled. But, again, like I said, I'm not worried about Joe Burrow. I just see it in his eyes when he plays, how bad he wants it. He's so good. And they played against the 2-time defending Super Bowl champs in Arrowhead, took them all the way down to the wire, and there was 1 or 2 plays that altered the game. And if they make both those plays, they win.
They got a game against the Commanders coming out, extra day to sort of heal up and figure things out, get on the same page. That's the Monday Night Football game against the Commanders coming up. I'm glad that you're saying all of this. And it's true, Trent McDuffie was all over Jamar. He completely keyed in on him. So T being available, and hopefully he is next week. That's what I'm hearing. I hope so. That'll be great. You are so smart, Luke. I think you should be a coach. I think you're a genius. I'd like to know, this is a tough question. Out of everything that you saw happen, what is the sort of smartest play, the Kuechly? What is the thing that you saw that happen in week 2 that you can teach me about right now?
Okay, so we talked about this guy last week. I love him. He was in Carolina for a little bit, Baker Mayfield. Okay. So he had the touchdown run right here from the 11-yard line going in. So I think for a lot of reasons it's a good call. The first thing that happened, the play before this, he scrambled for 10, 12 yards. And when a quarterback scrambles like Baker, the pass rushers have to rush, and then they have to backtrack and go chase him all the way down the field. It was obviously a pass, so all the defenders have dropped into pass coverage. They're locked on their receivers, and then they got to go run and chase Baker. So it's a longer play than you usually get. It's not like a quick run where it's off tackle, they get 4 yards, it's 5 seconds, or it's a quick 3-step game, 5 seconds, boom, ball gets tackled. No, it's drop back pass. If you're a pass rusher, you got to go. If you're a dropper, you got to go get your guy, and then you got to go chase him. So now these guys are tired, and then boom, now they get right back on the ball. Aiden Hutchinson's been a menace all game. He had 1 million sacks. He had 5 of them. Crazy. They spread him out, and then they run the quarterback draw. They blocked it up perfectly. Center gets up on the Mike backer, just gets in his way, and then Baker is Baker. It's one of those things with him. If he's near the goal line, he's going to score. He made a guy miss, and he ran through a guy's shoulder. So it's vintage Baker. If I'm the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker has so much energy after a big run like that. The best thing you can do is just give it right back to him. We had the same thing with Cam. Cam needs to get hit. Cam needs to run the ball. And if he's feeling it, just keep giving it right back to him. And that's exactly what they did.
It was the longest touchdown of Baker's career, running touchdown.
Really?
Longest touchdown run. Yeah, it was 11 yards. Graham Barton, the center, sort of getting out on linebacker. Jack Campbell was also kind of amazing. It's nice to see a center get like 10 yards downfield that quickly. I was really impressed by his Jets.
He did a great job. That's like Ryan Cleo. Ryan Cleo gets out in front, and the worst thing that centers do is just get in your way. And that's exactly what he did. He just gets in your way, and then by the time you try to get around him, it's a touchdown.
I love that. So Baker and this run, that is, I asked you for the smartest play. Let's see it again. This is it, people. The smartest play of week 2 so far. We are calling it as a show. This is your weekly Kuechly, not for the meekly, probably pretty geekly, and it was moment of genius, certified. This is the smartest play. If there's a smarter play that anybody out there saw, let us know at Up and Adam Show. We are stamping that baby. Now, the Lions, on the other side of this, Aiden, every time I look up, Aiden's just dancing. He's around. He was unstoppable. Like you said, it was a career-high 4.5 sacks, round up to 1 million. It looked like it and felt like it. How was he able to operate? This is a Super Bowl contender team, right? How was he able to sort of carve through the Bucs O-line?
Well, I think, first of all, Luke Gadecki's out. I think that's a big loss for him. They put in Justin School. It's a tough matchup for him. But the one thing about Aiden Hutchinson that makes it so difficult is how hard he plays. He plays so hard every play. And if you're a backup tackle, you haven't got a ton of game action, you got to go against that guy every play. He doesn't take plays off. He doesn't get tired. He's gigantic, and he can win different ways. So the first couple sacks, he just won on the edge. His first sack, he won on a game inside. And then they started chipping him on his next 2. They chipped him twice. He beat one of them. And then on his last sack, he just wrapped inside and made an effort play. And 3 of them were on 3rd down. And that's the mark of a good pass rusher, is a guy that's able to win when it matters the most. He's getting chipped. It's on 3rd down. It's in the red zone. He had sacks in all those different situations. And he's a prototype for what Dan Campbell wants: effort, toughness, attitude, energy. And when you play like that every snap, stuff just starts happening in your favor.
Yet somehow the Bucs got the win. A lot of work by Hutch that didn't really quite work out, and they obviously ran the division last year. We'll see. Let's get into your Panthers here in a little bit, but we started with a Justin Jefferson highlight. We should have just started with the Vikings first here, because they're undefeated. Sam Darnold, people want to doubt him, whatever. Big win, big upset over the Niners. And this is now the second year in a row where Flores just throws something in the direction of Shanahan and just sort of befuddles him a little bit. The Niners scored 17 points. 17 points in each of the last 2 games, the last time they've gone against Minnesota. Am I right about that? What's the deal with Flores v. Shanahan?
I think a lot of it had to do with they got up early. They got up early on the Niners. When you get up early on the Niners in that Shanahan offense, a little bit of that run game and that play action kind of goes away. They're not as much under center. And when you're not as under center as much, there's not as much stress on the defense. There's not as much run game threat. The ball in the run game can only go certain directions. Yeah, they can run it to both sides of the field, but the ball doesn't hit as quickly downhill. It's more lateral. I understand when they're in the shotgun, the ball takes a little bit longer to get to the second level. So as a backer, I can play pass a little bit more. But what I think he's done a really good job. You showed on that last interception, the effort that those guys play with. That ball got tipped twice, got picked off, and then there was 5 or 6 guys in front blocking, trying to score a touchdown. So I think Brian Flores has a ton of confidence. I think those guys have a really good feel for what he's trying to get accomplished. And he rushes 4. Sometimes it looks like 5. Sometimes he rushes 5 and it looks like 6, but guys are dropping out. Nothing looks the same. He's not afraid to go 0. He's got a ton of confidence in his guys outside, on the outside edge. You bring in Stephon Gilmore, and then you have a really good veteran in the back, Harrison Smith, that they have a ton of confidence with. They just have a really good recipe for it. Number one, they got great coaching. They got guys that can rush the passer, and they went up early in that game. And so then that kind of limits what the Niners are able to do on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Harrison, super unheralded always. It always bothers me. And they're able to get it done, Brian Flores and company. And then, I liked Brock and Flores had a moment on the field after, I don't know if you saw, where they were dapping each other up, and Brock goes, "Your schemes are crazy." He's just giving him love, and Flores obviously wanted nothing to do with it, but loved pointing that out. As far as Christian McCaffrey being out, such a bummer. Big fan, you're a big fan, friend of his. It's at least 4 games. What does that do to this Niners offense? Because there's a lot of, they'll be fine. They just got Mason. And I'm I don't know if we can devalue the effect that Christian McCaffrey has on the squad. What do you think?
I think at some point Christian's going to be back and he's going to be great. So what I think it does in the short term is it makes him a better offense. It makes him an offense that says, hey, if Christian's not in the game, what are we going to do? And it kind of leans itself forward to other options too. If Debo's not in game, what are we going to do? And then when Christian does come back, it's like a little bit of juice in their veins. Now we got one of our best players in the NFL back. So I think they're going to be okay. You look at their roster, it's Kittle, it's Ayuk, and Debo Samuel. And they have one of the best coaches in the NFL in Kyle Shanahan. So I think they're going to be fine. I think you're going to get a healthy Christian McCaffrey, and you're going to get a juice of energy when he comes back, because I love Christian. I think he's the best running back in the NFL. In the energy and the passion that he plays with when he comes back. Sometimes as the season goes on, it's week 5, it's week 6. And when you're as good of a team as you are as the Niners, I know they lost yesterday, but sometimes the regular season gets boring. You're like, man, I'm ready for the playoffs. And when a guy like Christian comes back from being out for a few games, it's just a juice and a burst of energy that gets influxed into your team. And it's just really good. So I think you get Christian the opportunity to get healthy. You get a young guy in there to take some of the snaps from Christian early in the game, early in the season. And then you figure out what's life like without Christian. Let's just get better as a team. And when he does come back, we're going to be that much better.
I like the positivity on a team that I think will be in the NFC Championship game, unless it's the Packers that go to the Super Bowl, because they looked it was such a beautiful, the misdirections, the masterclass put on by Matt LaFleur, who just totally said, I'm going to adjust my offense. I'm going to completely change what I do to get the best out of Malik Willis. I loved it. The Colts were keyed in on the run game, and Green Bay still somehow rushed for 261 yards. Josh Jacobs had 151 on 32 carries. What made the Packers' run game so tough to stop? How did this happen?
I think they're so multiple in what they do. That offense, and I give those guys a lot of credit. I give Matt LaFleur a lot of credit, saying, hey, we need to be able to run the ball, and we need to be able to protect Malik Willis. He hasn't been here very long. He's not cued in on exactly what we do. I think a lot of credit goes to Jeff Hafley and that defense for keeping him close. If you don't stay close, you don't have the ability to run the ball. But getting back to the run game, the amount of shifting, the amount of motioning, the amount of formation adjusting, it puts so much stress on a defense, because if you line up in a stagnant formation, I can set my front, I can set my blitz, I can set my rotation. And then I can also disguise that look. Versus, all right, if they line up in one formation, 2-by-2, now they motion to 3-by-1. And then on the snap, they go from 3-by-1 back to 2-by-2. Now I have to adjust my blitz. I got to adjust my rotation.
Right.
And I can't disguise like I typically do. As a guy's moving across the formation pre-snap, all my linebackers have to bump across the formation to get into their new run gap. And it just causes confusion. And the biggest thing that we always had issues with is if you don't get set pre-snap in your gap and you're moving laterally, your first step oftentimes towards the line of scrimmage is going to be lateral in some form or fashion. It's not, you don't have the ability to get downhill as quickly as you can in your run gap. And then now instead of stopping a run for 3 yards, now it's 4 yards. Instead of getting a double team off at 2 yards off your D tackle, now it's at 3 yards. And over the course of a game, it just adds up and adds up and adds up. And Josh Jacobs is a monster. He's a physical running back. And when a guy like that has a full head of steam and he doesn't get touched to 3 yards and then contact happens at 3.5, it's really hard to get those guys on the ground efficiently.
They got the win. You're like too smart for me to. I have to watch this back. Everyone's loving this because we're getting an education this morning. But let's talk about puke. Let's bring us back down
I saw that.
To my level. So here's what apparently happened. 3rd and 10, second quarter. Malik gets asked, why didn't he throw the ball? LaFleur says that the center puked on the ball. What?
I'll tell you what, you can't miss it right there. That's pretty. I couldn't imagine what Malik thought when that ball came back to him. He might have thought, did I have a guy open? He tried to grip the ball. He probably tried to re-grip it. Nothing happened. And then I can't imagine the conversation when Malik goes to the sideline.
Yeah.
And LaFleur's like, I had the perfect play call. Why don't you throw the ball? And he looks at him dead serious and says, there's throw up on the ball. I couldn't imagine the response that LaFleur gives back to him. I think he probably just has to say, all right, well, go sit down and work on the next series. I can't imagine that conversation on the sideline.
Josh Myers, hope you're feeling well this morning. The center, what is the grossest thing you've ever seen on the field? Be dead honest with me.
We had a guy in training camp. Shoot, it was probably 2018. He threw up. He was a linebacker in the cadence. Cam was going through a cadence. He throws up mid-cadence. Ball gets snapped. He's dropping into coverage, still throwing up. Mm-hmm. Gets set up. Cam throws the ball to the flat, and he goes and makes a play in the flat. It's like it never happened. He's throwing up pre-snap in the middle of the play, puts his foot in the ground, and goes and tags off on the ball carrier, and then comes to the sideline, gets a drink, and acted like nothing happened.
How often does that happen? It doesn't happen very often. Like it's.
No.
I would always get grossed out. I gotta be. So I when I remember I used to work in the Edward Jones Dome. It was like my first football job, right? And it was like the elephant graveyard of stadiums, as it were. But they would have like, the families come down, or people who had like season tickets, or like, sponsorship, and after a game, and they'd say like, play on the field, and these little kids would be like rolling around on the turf and whatever, and I would just be like, ugh, because there was like urine and sweat and pee and blood and all this stuff everywhere, and like in there that never gets cleaned, and I'm just like, it always gross. It was the ick hurt around the world for me. I hated it.
You just take a little shower after the game. You're all good. That's all you need.
It's gross. I need that ball.
You think they kept that football, or you think they got rid of it?
I don't know. The Josh Myers football? You think it should go to Canton?
You think they put it in Canton up there as the throw-up ball from Malik Willis, or what?
Oh, my God. I don't know. I hope not. What a weird thing to think, Kuechly. Okay, you're so funny. You were on the call. That's enough for puke today. We'll hit that more later. You were on the call. It was Chargers. It was Panthers. Another run freaking heavy game. You hate to see it. 250 yards on the ground for the Chargers. Let's start with their side because they're the victor, right? Justin Herbert, what are you seeing? Is there anything new that you're seeing this year?
Well, I think they just want to come out and run the ball. They're exactly what Jim Harbaugh was the past couple years at Michigan. And you look at that Greg Roman offense. It's interesting for the Panthers. The previous 2 weeks, they played Clint Kubiak, and I was with the Saints. They used Taysom Hill the very same way. They used Kyle Juszczyk, obviously a little bit different, but then they had a big guy, Josh Matlock, yesterday for the Chargers. He's a big defensive lineman. He wore number 44, and they used him just like Pat Ricard in Baltimore with Greg Roman last year. So they came out, they're in big, heavy personnel, and they just ran power downhill lead, power downhill counter, a little bit of wide zone, and just pounded the ball. And you look at J.K. Dobbins, a lot of his runs went to the left side of the defense. Boom, you get enough J.K. Dobbins, you tire him out. Boom, we're going to put Gus Edwards in and pound him too. And to be honest, Justin Herbert had to just hand the ball off, convert a couple third downs. They only threw the ball past 10 yards in the air 5 times. He threw 2 touchdowns. And, I think the biggest thing for Justin Herbert is if the run game's working, man, just stick with it and try not to do too much. He had a fumble in the first half that was kind of like, man, like just throw that ball in the dirt and move on to the next play. But he's a big physical player. They ran him once yesterday, and you see him in space running the ball. It's a problem, but they didn't do anything crazy. There was nothing wild about what they did. They just lined up and said, hey, we know we're going to hold you guys in the offensive side of the ball. We know you guys aren't going to score a ton of points. We're just going to pound the ball. We're going to control the clock. We're going to shorten the game, and we'll see if you guys can stop the run. And with Derek Brown being out yesterday, I really don't blame them. I
know. You love Derek Brown. Yeah. There's all of that going on. I have to ask you on the Panthers side, I obviously want to keep it positive, but it's almost, what's the biggest concern? Bryce didn't throw a ball over 10 yards. Like, that was all the passing charts. That was huge on Twitter yesterday. Is that on him? Is that on the O-line? Is that on play calling? I'm sure you'll say all, but if you were to sort of point to the most frustrating part from yesterday, what is that?
I thought up front we played really well. I think that the guys in the offensive line, are doing a fantastic job. And last year, we've talked about it, Bryce got hit a lot. He got sacked 62 times. So I think for him, he's just got to get comfortable playing behind these guys. Have confidence that they're going to block who they're going to block. Have confidence that you're going to have a pocket. Have confidence that We're going to get open downfield and just go trust yourself and let it rip. And we can all go back and watch Bryce in Alabama and him slinging it around the yard and him sitting in the pocket and him being on the run, putting on guys' chests. I think we just all need to take a step back and take a breath and say, hey, Bryce, you're a really good player. We drafted you at 1 for a reason. I would argue that a majority of the NFL would have done the same thing if they had the number 1 overall pick. Just sit behind these front 5 guys in front of you. We've got some new pieces around you on the offensive side of the ball. We understand that. But just have confidence in what we're doing. I thought we ran the ball pretty well yesterday, but again, we got down early and I kind of had to abandon it a little bit. But I'm a huge optimist for the Panthers. I'm not ready to freak out yet. I think if we just sit back there and trust our guys in front of us in the offensive line a little bit, we're going to have a little bit more success moving forward.
I also think I'm seeing a lot of, in engaging with Twitter and Panthers fans, because you're coming on, a lot of like, the culture is getting there. The culture does not change overnight. I felt the culture change when I was there over the summer. You're a lot closer to the team. So I would say leave the culture part of it alone. That part is largely improved. That part is in good hands. I think you should trust Luke, who says this a lot, and even just an outsider like me. Like, the culture is okay. We're getting there with that. Before we let you go, I did want to ask you, I have to ask you, you're the perfect person to ask about Tua Tagovailoa. You saw what happened in the latest reports, rap sheet from NFL Media. He's saying that Tua has no plans to retire after another concussion on Thursday night. I know every situation is different, but you've gone through at least some of what Tua is dealing with right now, if not exactly what he's dealing with right now. What were your thoughts when you heard that report? What is important? And just, I wanted to give you a moment to sort of give your thoughts on that.
Yeah, with Tua, I feel for him. I mean, only thing a lot of guys in the NFL want to do is just play football. They want to be out there with their buds. They play the game because they love playing the game. Tua obviously signed the big contract. I would argue that's not what motivates him. When you watch him interact with Mike McDaniel and the guys in the team, you can just tell he loves the game of football. And when that gets taken away from you, whether it's for a practice, for a game, for a quarter, you got to come out for a series. Guys just want to be on the field and play football. So that's kind of where I started. I understand the pain and you're just disappointed you can't be on the field. But then I also understand the concussion piece too of, hey man, like, I get it's serious, but what I will say though is the NFL has done a really good job of putting the protocol in place and doing everything they can to make sure that the players have time to get better, see different types of doctors. They see an independent doctor that's not associated with the team that I think is super important. I think listening to Mike McDaniel speak, it's more of, we're concerned about Tua. We're concerned about him as a person. We're not concerned about the quarterback that we just paid a ton of money to and a guy that's going to help us win a ton of games. We're concerned about Tua as the person. So first of all, I think he's got great support from the people in the building. I think he's got a really unique relationship with Mike McDaniel. I think he cares a ton about him. Mike McDaniel, I was reading some stuff about it, was talking about the conversation shouldn't be about, is Bryce or is Tua going to continue to play or is he going to retire? I think it should be more of like, hey, how's Tua doing? Is he going to be okay? I think Tua will be very smart. And at the end of the day, I think you leave it up to that guy. He knows what the best is for him. He knows his situation better than anybody else. I'm sure he's got great doctors around him, and they're going to take great care of him with the Miami Dolphins, and they're going to do everything they can to make sure that Tua is good to go. And then once he's good to go, boom, then they figure out what the next step is. But for Tua, I feel for him. That's the hardest thing to do is not be able to play a game that you want to play, and it's not an injury that you can tough out, You just can't. It's just not one of those. It's not an ankle. It's not a wrist. It's not a knee where you can just say, hey, you know what? Like, it's going to hurt. I'm going to put some tape on it. I'm going to deal with it. It's not that kind of injury. And as long as we approach it as that type of injury as players, I think we'll be okay.
Really well said. I think the story is not going away. So we'll, of course, talk about it throughout the season. You're amazing. 5-time All-Pro linebacker, smartest mind in football, Luke Kuechly. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for your thoughts. We'll be back on the Up and Adam Show, breaking down more of Week 2, trying to get to all the games. Probably won't. I'll be honest.
I mean, there's nothing like.
What?
For news, the Pacheco's the biggest.
I hear you, Hammy. Your mic's up. What's up?
Oh, hey. Sorry, Richard and I were just discussing
What to do?
news that was coming out this morning. Yeah.
The what?
So we're gonna do hunches.
Oh.
For sure.
Oh, I
Look
love.
into tonight's. Yeah.
Don't tell me them. God. Wait, we crushed our freaking hunches. We were 3 for 3 in our hunches.
3 for 3. Pretty good.
How come, like,
Especially
maybe that's it. Maybe I'm great at hunches. If you have a hunch, go follow it over at FanDuel Sportsbook. I had a hunch the Rams would win yesterday.
Man. We'll get into some Cardinals, too. We'll get into some of that stuff tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, we wanted it every game, but that's why we have another show tomorrow, everybody.
Yeah.
And we have Devontae
Yeah.
Adams tomorrow, lest you forget. And oh God, I have to really sleep this evening. We got Gronk's energy. Last time he was here, he just said, "It's my show," and he stomped around here like he owned the place, and he does.
We got to do a live Attaboys with Gronk.
He did a very, very well. He had a very good cadenced, walk and talk yesterday in the Fox studio. For half, I saw that. I was like, okay,
Those
Gronk.
walk and talks are not easy.
They are not fun, easy, or necessarily make sense. That's okay. It's all good. What game didn't we get to that we really want? I mean, obviously Rams, Cards, Broncos.
Yeah. Steelers defense looking amazing so far. Jets, we gotta.
You see that there's still like such a long shot to win the division?
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I'm confused. Do they not change? We change those as we go, right? Like that. It's updated from after yesterday's action, right?
Yes.
Okay. That sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, the Steelers are still plus 360.
So why don't you
to
take
win
this
the
out of
North.
break here, Ham? Or what do you want?
Okay.
I'll do it. Okay. Can't let Hammy do it. Bat. I don't want to see these. They're in here. Clearly, it's better if I don't see them.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm an overthinker. Welcome back to Up and Adams. It's hunch time! Woohoo! Let's do it tonight. We got the Eagles. We got the Falcons. I hate birds. What do you got?
All right, first one. I want an anytime touchdown score for the Eagles tonight. What's your hunch? Who's scoring for Philly?
Anytime. Can I see who's available, what their odds are, please? Can I take a look? Okay, got a little Jalen, a little Jahan Dotson's kind of fun. I'm going to go Saquon. Minus 185. That's an easy one. This is like bang for your buck vibes. Jalen Hurts is nice. Goes 1 week without a tush push, and I can get him at plus odds. I don't know. Who should I go with? Saquon or Jalen?
Go Jalen.
Okay, fine.
Saquon's too easy. Go Jalen.
Saquon's kind of nice, though. No, we got to take a break.
Falcons anytime touchdown score.
We got to take a break. Ooh, hold on to that tweet as what you think. We'll be back after this on the Up and Adams show. One more. I didn't hear it, luckily. I didn't hear anything you said, so we'll rehash this on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. And I want to just do them now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So next one, no A.J. Brown for the Eagles. What's your hunch on who steps up in that passing game with no A.J. out there?
Jahan, probably, right? Kellen Moore? Oh, I don't know. Kellen likes using those tight ends. Let's see. So, Jahan. I'm going to go Dallas Goedert. I think he's sort of the beneficiary. Falcons are going to do their thing with Devontae Smith, right? Try to take him out of the game. 43.5 yards. Oh, well, let's punch the over on that. I'm going to go Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert's going to smash the over. Am I good at hunches?
I love that one.
Great.
I love that one. We heard them talk about Dallas talk about being excited, getting more on those stick routes, that underneath passing game. I agree with you. I think we're going to see a good one from him. Last one. Anytime touchdown score for the Falcons tonight. We got to give the Falcons some love. Let's pull up the full screen. Who's scoring from the Falcons?
I mean, it could be anybody. You know, I love Bijan. I'm going to go to Kyle Pitts, though. He scored last week. That was nice to see him in the end zone. You can get him at plus 250. Okay. By the way, he's back in Philly. First career game back in Philly. He was born there. A little cute narrative. I always love that. So I'm going to say Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts tonight. We shouldn't have done these because we were perfect. So then this might muck that up. I don't love that.
Just not do him for the rest of the year. Just retire it.
You pick. Who do you think? Give me that board again, please. Who do you think? Anytime touchdown score for the Falcons.
I like Tyler Algier.
I knew you were going to say that. You know what? You're so messed up. This is why you're so full of it, because you know you pick the rogue one, and it's gonna. I knew you were going to pick that, and it's going to hit, and you're going to be seen as some sort of like incredible genius that happened, and that's absolute trash. That is. I knew you were going to do that. Of course, it's Tyler Algier sneaking carries from Bijan, taking a little workload. He'll find a way to answer, and he will, and he freaking will. He'll probably throw his own touchdown and then catch it. Like that's what will happen. And everyone will be like, Hammy, you're so smart. You know who's smart?
I mean,
Luke Kuechly. Do you know who's not? Do you know who's not smart enough to understand what he's saying half the time? Me. Motions of the oceans, of the whatever. I'm just like, yeah. Yeah. I'm going to have to literally re-listen to the song. I bet you were just loving it.
Oh, it was amazing. So good. You're not getting that from anybody else.
At a certain point, he loses me. I'm like, where are we going?
You want to get nitty gritty? There we go.
Back on Up and Adams. What a show. So thankful and grateful for the time and just the way the mind works with that Luke Kuechly. He's brilliant. Breaking it down. Enjoy it tonight. Go have some fun over on FanDuel Sportsbook. Of course, Eagles and Falcons. To wrap up Week 2, we have Devontae Adams on the show tomorrow and Rob Gronkowski in studio.